Mhm.
So,
Good, good morning, everyone. I welcome you to this online session of the conference on reimagining and reclaiming the knowledge traditions of Bharat beyond boundaries and definition. This session will be chaired by Professor Bhagat Oinam. Sir is a professor in Center for Philosophy, Social Sciences, Jawaharlal Nehru University, New Delhi. I further invite Professor Bhagat Oinam, sir, for the further proceedings of the session. Thank you, sir.
Kavya, can you just, I am not able to open the file, so you can invite the speakers as well. Huh?
Sure,
You will be
sure, sir.
around, no? Please do that
Sure, sir.
needful as well.
Sure, sir. Okay. So the first speaker is Mr. Tanmoy Bhattacharjee.
You can also introduce them to the audience. You know?
Mr. Tanmoy Bhattacharjee is from Howrah, India, and the title is Ṣaḍaṅga, Indian Environmental Visual Art, and Abanindranath Tagore. Mr. Tanmoy Bhattacharjee.
Yes, good morning. Am I audible?
Yes,
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 you are.
yes, you are,
Okay,
please.
so respected chair, sir, and respected coordinator, madam, and my esteemed co-presenters. Very good morning, everyone. As the title of my paper goes, Ṣaḍaṅga, Indian Environmental Visual Art and Abanindranath Tagore. Well, may I know what time do I have? Uh, Kindly please tell me.
Kavya ji, how do we divide, Kavya? This is till what time? Ek minute.
Uh,
So,
Kavya.
so you
Uh,
have around 10 minutes for your
okay,
presentation
okay,
and 2 minutes
okay,
for your question answers round. Yes.
Kavya,
okay.
please keep the time also. ठीक है?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So now this paper seeks to examine the luminous tradition of environmental visual art in India, especially painting, the indigenous epistemology of Ṣaḍaṅga, and the rasa theory with reference to Abanindranath Tagore's iconoclastic weaver. In fact, the devotedness to the inner reserve of feeling painting or Ṣaḍaṅga रूपभेद प्रामाणिक भाव लावण्य योजनम सादृश्यम वर्णिका भंगम इति चित्रम शरंगकम. Now, to translate it, this is differentiation of form, proportion, infusion of emotions, gracefulness in composition, similitude, and use of color. However, Abanindranath was at the same time warning that even the most rigorous application of all these six landmark types might not yield the desired effect. The six essential that are necessary in making a picture or an image, in writing a poem or singing a song, are all there in making a pair of boots. They are differentiation, form, likeness, division of color, skill of craftsmanship, measure, feeling, loveliness. All these are applied there. Yet, the thing is just a hard and useful thing bearing the identity of power. I unquote from Abanindranath's own lectures that he was delivering in the University of Calcutta during 1921 to 1929, and
Tanmoy somehow we are not able to hear. Kavya,
So, Tanmay ji,
he,
he,
he is. See,
he's
I
not.
think we can give up to 15 minutes, isn't it? There are only six presenter, and we have 2 hours, isn't it?
Sure, sir.
हाँ तो 15 मिनट्स ले लेते हैं फिर डिस्कशन भी
Sure.
होगा.
Okay, sir.
10 अगर होगा तो 6 10 to 1 hour तो 1 घंटे क्या करेंगे.
Sure,
और
sir. Sure.
वेयर इज तन्मय जी. हाँ आप थोड़ा 15 मिनट का देख लीजिए देन वी कैन
Tanmay ji, we are not able to hear you.
आई थिंक ही got disconnected.
Yes, sir.
Should we try the next one or we keep waiting?
So I think we can just call the next presenter so
Huh.
that he gets connected meanwhile. So I now call upon Mr. Atriv Kumar. Mr. Atriv Kumar is from Bengaluru, India, and his title for the paper is Exploring Pingala's Work from Syllables to Sequences.
Atripji, you
Yes.
let us have around 15 minutes, huh, Max?
Sure, sir.
He's,
Yeah.
Tanmayji will join after. He's trying to join, I think. Is it?
Yeah.
If he's joining,
Sure, sir. In that case, I'll get started. If Tanmay ji joins, then he can start next. In that.
एक
Hope
minute,
that
let us
works. Yeah.
see. Kavya, you have Tanmay's number?
Yes, sir.
एक
So
बार
I'll just
phone कर
speak.
लो. You
Sure, sure.
just tell him that we are starting with the. अच्छा, it looks like. Tanmayji, are you back? You are muted. Hello, Tanmay. You are muted. Can you unmute, Tanmayji?
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah,
Yes,
you
yes.
got
Am I?
disconnected, right?
Oh my goodness.
We
You know.
could not hear you.
Okay.
So, ऐसा है, we can give up to 15 minutes. तो आप
No,
please carry on and काव्य just count, huh?
no,
15
no.
Sure, sure.
minutes कर लेते हैं.
It's all right. I was so eagerly trying to reconnect. So
हाँ.
shall I continue, sir?
Continue, please,
Okay,
please.
okay. Thank you, everyone. And sorry for the inconvenience.
No issue.
So actually, Abanindranath Tagore was, I mean, at the request of the then Vice Chancellor, uh, Sir Ashutosh Mukhopadhyay, Abanindranath was delivering his lectures on art during 1921 to 1929, and all what he said during his lectures, they were collected by the University of Calcutta and they were published as Bageshwari Art Lectures. So what I just quoted is from the lectures delivered by Tagore during the colonial times. So he boldly affirmed that nature or environment does not easily permit anyone or everyone to penetrate his own treasure trove of great mystery. Attainment of art requires austere practice, unmotivated pursuit of acquiring the procedure, unpretentious inclination for pondering, of seeing and of hearing. Unwittingly, his attitude to art and aesthetics is completely anti-anthropocentric. And I quote, nature is free, her artistic activities are independent of others. That's what he writes using a Sanskrit term, Ananya Paratantra. She goes on making things forever, whether man be there or not. So nature goes on making her own things, whether we are around her or not, whether anyone sees it or not. Unquote. This sensitive, soulful, and affective understanding of nature makes Abanindranath bring nature so differently in his paintings and his incomparable fiction and non-fiction as well. If we consider Abanindranath celebrated uncle Rabindranath Tagore's views on art, we see that the ever-evolving relation between man and the world summarily leads to the creation of various forms. I quote, besides the relation of need and knowledge, there exists still another relation between man and the world. This relation leads to the creation of forms. Today, I would like to dwell upon this. Herein lies the fundamental theory of art. Art does not mean just painting only. It is man's act of creation of various races. I unquote. The contemporary situation, however, was not at all conducive to the right appreciation of this interrelatedness between man and the world. The country and the countrymen were still under the foreign rule, as life was turning a savage essay on dullness and drudgery. Every little nook of the subcontinent was groping for a means of self expression, self articulation. The terrain of Indian art, more particularly Indian painting, was no exception. It was until iconoclasts like Abanindranath explored and experimented with its richest possibilities, it was merely a wishy-washy craftsmanship. The then craftsmanship of painting was largely compartmentalized within the blind emulation and imitation of the West in both form and content. For example, if a student was composing a village landscape, it would surely be a most unconvincing collation of thatched huts, forbidding trees, silhouetted tanks, and an all passion spent kind of background. This was, there is no doubt, the meanest, the crudest, the muddiest possible visual rendering of what we can describe as contemporaneity. In fact, the influences that were shaping and reshaping the creative tempo of the then artists could be felt in the heartbeat of the technologically modernizing Calcutta, the unconventionality of Devendranath Tagore's Brahmo doctrines, painter E.V. Havel's fascination for Orientalist practices, the Pan-Asian interest of Okakura Kakuzo, the Islamic influences on the Tagores, the Hindu Mela, the Buddhist teachings, the British schoolings, Bharato's aesthetics, that is what we know about the Natya Shastra, and of course the Mughal architecture, the Persian fairy tales, and last but not the least, the cult of Vaishnavism, and all these influences that had a perceptible bearing on the then Art Nouveau, of course, broadened the exposure, invigorated the style, and accentuated the subtlety of objectivity. However, a dedicated interface with the country's past was conspicuously missing. Also missing was the requisite socio political consciousness that could bring to the fore the soulfulness of the soil, the mingled yearning of the people, and the synthetic spirit of Indianness. The reference frames were there, but not the right feeling. The structures were there, but not the right churning. The shiksha, I mean the training was there, but not the right shock, that is the pleasurable fancy. The idea was there, but not the truthfulness of sense, and I quote the word truthfulness of sense from Sister Nivedita's complete works. Sister Nivedita was the first who was writing critical essays on Abanindranath's paintings. When Abanindranath painted, Abanindranath did 1905 Bharat Mata painting, it was Sister Nivedita who took upon herself the responsibility of, of excoriating, of critiquing the painting, Bharat Mata painting. Exactly to what extent this poverty of feeling festered the pre-revivalist art, I mean pre-revivalist, by pre-revivalist I mean pre-Abanindranath art, has found its best discourse in Sister Nivedita's consummate views in the function of art in shaping nationality. And I quote, "Have you not felt the beauty of the little earthen lamp set alight at evening beneath the tulsi plant? Have you not breathed the peace of the Shantijal ceremony in the gathering dusk? Is there for you no mystic significance in the Borondala? Believe me, without some such interpretation, some such appeal, the mere technical excellences of which you learn to prate in English schools are bone without flesh, are worse than valueless." I unquote from Sister Nivedita. The mere technical excellences to which Sister Nivedita is dismissively alluding may have helped a painter of that time to carve out the haptic presences of an object or a person on the canvas. The emulative artist looked forward to the canons of realist or illusionist simulations only, but Abanindranath was trying to break free from these mere formalities. His objective was an appropriate cultivation of mood and the latent materiality of the image. This was a new way of re-evaluating the relation. I quote from Rabindranath Tagore once again, the relation between man and the world. Under this new dispensation, painting was not so much about the mastery of technique or the staging of characters and events as about the invocation of mood and feeling. Right from his boyhood, there was a tendency in the budding artist, I mean budding Abanindranath, to steer clear of any one particular visual genre or any one particular artistic lineage. After all, being a member of the family of the Jorashako Tagores, Abanindranath was invariably experiencing a tremendous melange of various cultural and cross-cultural thoughts within the very corridors of his house. The late 19th century Bengal was already anticipating the flourish of the Bengal Renaissance in history, literature, religion, and culture. The Hindu Mela is a glaring example in which the then Tagore took particular interest. When Rabindranath Tagore was just 16, he was bringing out his debut poems in Jorashako House Journal, Bharati. Here, under the pseudonym Bhanu Singh, he began his first ever experimentation with Brojobuli, the old Bengali in the system of language diversity, and composed a number of Krishna Lila poems entitled as Bhanu Singh Thakurer Padabali. Of them, if we look at the concluding line of number 7, चलह तुरित गति श्याम चकित अति धर सखी जन हाथ नींद मगन मही भय डर कुछ नहीं भानु चले तब साथ. That is from Ravindra Rachanabali. We hear not just an uncommon musicality, but also an emphatic celebration of a culture which is intimately embedded with the cultural consciousness of the land. Another poem of the same series unfolds this way. Sajaniga शावन गगने घोर घन घटा निशित जामिनी रे कुंज पथे सखी कैसे जाव अबला कामिनी रे. I unquote. In fact, Vaishnavism and Shaktism as a very powerful mystic and performative cult practices, especially as a legacy of post-Chaitanya Vaishnavism, this predominated the flavor and fabric of the Bengal Renaissance. It is the same Vaishnavism that was within not more than just 2 decades, inspiring another Indian English poet, Sarojini Naidu, the Nightingale of India, to produce a gem of a poem such as The Flute Player of Vrindavan. And I quote, I cannot help quoting. Why didst thou play thy matchless flute neath the Kadambo tree and wound my idle dreaming heart with poignant melody? I answer. For Rabindranath, it did not take him long to notice Abanindranath's unease over and discontent with English watercolors. He hence advised his nephew to rather concentrate on the Vaishnav Padavali literature. Around 1896-97, Abanindranath for the first time was meeting the celebrated English art historian and critic E.B. Hevel, whom Abanindranath would soon accept as the guiding star of his life. Hegel's art criticism was anti-materialist in nature, and here it may be said that the artist in Abanindranath was looking exactly for an
Kavya, what time
anti-materialist.
has it reached? Please remind at 12 minutes, huh? Tanmoy ji,
Uh,
कितनी देर हो गई?
sir, the paper is long definitely, but then I'm coming to the conclusion.
Okay,
So, sir,
please.
just 1 minute. I'm coming to the conclusion. That is, finally, what I have said, sir, and my esteemed co-presenters, that this experiment with non-human, I mean, Abhinanda's constant experiment in his visual representations, that reaches the crescendo in final years of his life, when for the last 10 years of his life, he was just experimenting with the wooden artifacts called Katum Kutum, and he explained in clear terms why he chose to call them Katum Kutum. And now they show even the most insubstantial, the most negligible object is full of life and animism for him. And he completely abandoned painting in the last final 10 years of his life. These, celebrated painter, he completely stopped painting and he rather concentrated on working with things which are seemingly abandoned, the leftover wooden things and wooden branches and dried up and withered branches, etc. And he called them cartoon kutum. After all, his works, right from his debut sketches to his more recent cartoon kutum, ask for a recognition of the vital relationality between the human and the non-human. I have come to an elaborate conclusion about it. So that is where I would like to finish. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir, and thank you, coordinator.
Thank you, Tanmoy
Thank
ji. Kavya,
Yes, sir.
I did not count, but how long it was? Just see, though I said 15 minutes, but you can remind at 12 minutes, right? So that speaker can wind up in another 2-3 minutes.
Sure,
So,
sir.
and then we will have 2-3 more minutes to discuss. है ना?
Sure, sir.
हाँ.
Sure.
So anybody who has any questions or comments, you can directly speak to Dr. Tanmoy. Tanmoyji, where are you teaching at the moment?
Sir, I'm teaching at Belur Ramakrishna Mission Vidya Mandir Belur Mott, which is
Oh,
in
I
West
see.
Bengal.
Yes,
Yes,
I know, I know. I
yes,
would
sir.
like to just have a paper with me because I'm also keen on Chaitanya Vaishnavism. So I
Oh,
was quite keen to. But the time in such seminar is that it is injustice to the person who has done so much and then asking them to speak in 10, 12 minutes, right? So that is, so
Sir,
yeah,
sir, thank you for your comments. But sir, then I have submitted the full paper, and if the esteemed board of editors, if this shortlist my paper, in there is a scope for publication, then if they send it back for revision and for what necessary things I am required to do, I'll do
right,
everything possible
right.
to get it published if there is a scope.
And have you worked also on how Chaitanya Vaishnavism, uh, I should not use the word deviation, but somehow it recreates further out of the Dvaitavad. Have you, because this has all come from the Madhva Sampradaya, and subsequently Chaitanya created his own Achinta Veda Bhed. So have you also thought on that line, worked?
Okay, sir. No, this is absolutely a new light, and I would
Uh,
say definitely. So, okay, yes. So definitely said no, I didn't think this way because I was actually concentrating on the paintings of Abanindranath Tagore,
huh.
and especially the paintings where environment is coming in a new way. I mean,
Mm,
sir, what I tried to show that the Western paintings comparing the contemporary Western painting, what I saw that the background was not important for the Western paintings. It was,
mm,
the primary objects were of centric importance. But then
mm.
Abanindranath was, for the first time, he was telling us, I mean, he was getting tremendously influenced by Ajanta paintings, Ajanta mural paintings,
Right,
as we all
right.
know.
Mm,
And naturally,
mm.
he said that who said that the background is not important? Background is as important as the image of centric importance, because as a person who is colonized, he knew that we are actually background for the British imperialist power. So we are always relegated to the background. So intentionally or unwittingly, he was bringing the background to the limelight, and he was telling us that every every single coordinate of the canvas is important, and that was very anti-materialist and also anti-waste. I mean, to my mind,
Okay.
sir. Humbly sharing, sir.
No,
Humbly
no,
sharing.
I am very keen to know how Ajanta influenced and also how Chaitanya Vaishnavism influenced their writing, I mean, paintings, would be something I would love to read more, because these are also two different traditions. Ajanta was a Buddhist, uh, basically, tradition, and then Chaitanya Vaishnavism, to, as you know, is typically Gauriya Vaishnavism. So that would be something I would love to learn later.
And sir, thank you, sir. Thank you so
Mhm.
much. And I'll also see your take on it, that from the Advaita, how when Chaitanya Dev was taking up the and he was actually not celebrating. I mean, division between man and
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
rising above the divisive walls, so to
Yes,
say.
yes,
So,
yes.
and definitely, sir, definitely,
Mhm.
I try to see it. I'd
Anybody
love to see
else?
it, sir.
Anybody else has any question or comments? I think uh, there are none. Kavyaji, can you
Yes, sir.
request the next? And please remind the speaker at 12 minutes so that they get 2 3 minutes to wind up. Thank you, Tanmay.
Yes, yes. I now call
Thank
upon
you, sir.
Mr. Atriv Kumar. Mr. Atriv Kumar is from Bengaluru, India, and his title for the paper is Exploring Pingala's Work from Syllables to Sequences. Over to you.
Yeah, thank you, ma'am. And first of all, I would like to thank the entire team for giving me an opportunity to present my work in this esteemed seminar. So I have prepared a small presentation so that it becomes easier for me to use and then elaborate on the work that we have done. So the topic that we have worked on is Pingala's work from syllable to sequences, and it was co-authored by Achala Hegde and Dr. P.C. Deshmukh, and we all belong to RV University. And to start with, mathematics is always regarded as a universal language. Mathematics has its own unique ability to transcend the barriers of the culture, geography, and even time. Given its logical based patterns and the structures, mathematics mathematics is perhaps the most important catalyst of the human progress, and whether it be an architecture or engineering, computer science, or even astronomy, is of the same cadre. And mathematics is universal in nature, and as a result of its unparalleled precision and consistency, the historical development of mathematics unveils the uh, collection of civilizations with a significant contribution to even the more basic pieces of mathematics. And mathematics in Bharat has a long standing history, and these stories are intimately linked to the cultural, philosophical, and scientific heritage of the Indian subcontinent. And mathematics actually begin with the Vedic text in India, and especially the Sutras dated to the 8th centuries of BCE, and the text that describes how to build altars of ritual sacrifices and according to the exact formulas of geometric functions, revealing an advanced familiarization even with the ratios, proportions, and geometric relationships. Later work was also introduced groundbreaking concepts in algebra, trigonometry, and astronomy, such as Aryabhatiya, which was built by Aryabhata, and Brahmasputra Siddhanta by Brahmagupta. And Bharatiya mathematicians are early to consider even zero as a number and to even examine it in arithmetics. Not only that, but they devised techniques to even solve the quadratic equation and to approximate irrational numbers, exhibiting their deep and analytical knowledge in the mathematics. It was within the vigorous intellectual tradition that Pingala also made his own contribution. And although his work on Sanskrit prosody, which is actually a term which is used to study the poems, it's not only linguistic, rather it's more mathematical in nature. It shows the mathematical sophistication of Indian scholars in ancient times, and Pingala established a striking interplay between the combinatorial formulas and the scientific measurements, pushing the frontiers of the rigorous reasoning in mathematics and showcasing the seamless integration of scientific thinking and accurate calculation that categorized Indian mathematical tradition. So the history started with Babylonians using the base 60 systems, to the Greeks formalizing geometry, or in terms of Chinese using algebraic principles, all enjoyed their own phases in the global mathematical assessment. But out of this, what's missing out is the contributions which are done by Indian mathematicians. The Indian contributions are particularly special because as they were the ones who are responsible for even conceptualizing zero, infinity, and even algorithms. In addition to creating a new numbers and geometric figures, our Bharatiya mathematicians employed an interdisciplinary approach which combined linguistics, philosophy, astronomy into mathematics. This encouraged the creativity and innovation as problems were to be solved from the different perspectives. Within the rich tradition, the work of Pingala always stands out as it integrates both mathematics and the linguistics. So, coming to the Pingala's legacy, say Pingala was the Indian scholar in the 3rd century BCE, notably for his treatise on Sanskrit prosody titled as Chanda Shastra. At first, one may think that there is no relationship between his work on the metrical structures of poems and higher mathematics, but nevertheless, he ordered all the arrangements of syllables, made possible insightful mathematical concepts by doing those by constructing a techniques of counting laghu and guru, which is short and long syllables. Pingala was in fact the first to apply the combinatorial methods coupled with the numerical notations, which pioneered the original binary systems and later become known as the base for all the mathematical computations. And in our paper, what we are intended to reveal is the richness and the depth of Pingala's imparted mathematics, and it also analyzes the social and historical background of his works and delves more into mathematical importance and demonstrate its relevance in modern field such as computer science, the cipher systems or the cryptographies and algorithm constructions. And this research was mostly aimed at making clear long-standing value for all our ancient Bharatiya intellectual achievements by placing Pingala's activities into a big picture in Bharatiya mathematics, which actually has been forefrontly taken by the Western innovators like Fibonacci or Pascal's. To start with, Meru Prastatra by Pingala, which he refers to as the Pingala's triangle, is actually an old, sorry, which is actually an old Indian geometric design that is equivalent to what Westerns are known as Pascal's triangle. And it is a thought that Pingala worked in geometry emerged in BCE 300 in treatise that he wrote and called the Chanda Shastra. In essence, the system of arranging the numbers into triangle sets of the order. In example, the arrangement of the numbers in such that every number produced from the two numbers above it, and in this way it is much easier to arrive at a solution of the binomial combinatorial mathematics and the probability. So Pingala's triangle, or like laterly, which is also called as the Pascal's triangle, not only for the academic field of math, but it also contributes to the other spheres. It helps in the metrical classification of rhymic compositions, and in the systematic enumeration of syllables in poems in the area of Sanskrit prosody. Also, the idea produced by the triangle has assisted in development of modern mathematics, like the study of Fibonacci series and the development of binary system numbers. So these inventions made by Pingala serve as the perfect example of the strong interrelation which exists between the ancient Bharatiya philosophy and the modern mathematics that we have right now. The book Chandrashastra was compiled by Pingala and and is believed to have originated during the third century before the Common Era. It is one of the earliest treatises in Sanskrit poetics, and this document defines the thoughtfully analyzes the structure and computation of poetic meters and merges poetry and fine arts with a precise mathematics. In Chandashastra, the structure of syllables is used as the basis to arrange metrical divisions, in which the Lagu and Guru syllables are required to different lengths in various proportions. And this did not only enhances the traditional Vedic chants, but also laid down the principles of combinatorial mathematics. And his systematic approach to the problem solving, specifically to the construction of counting of a pattern, in which Pingala is acknowledged as a pioneer in algorithmic thinking. And one of the significant mathematical contribution of Chandashastra is the introduction of Meru Prashad, also known as Pascal's triangle, which is the mathematical tool used for finding the value of binomial coefficients in the modern era. The innovation gave Pingala the capacity to list all the possible combinations of syllables within a specific metrical length. Of which one of the most basic principles of Vedic prosody. Aside from that, the treatise talks about a numerical systems that depicts number in a binary using both lagu and guru, which is a short and long syllable, which is arguably the first step in the modern computing system. The combination of binary system alongside the recursive formulation of the syllabus shows how advanced Pingala was in combinatronics. And Chandashastra has been more influential than its initial regional context. It is of great importance in linguistic and mathematics research, particularly those concerning to algorithmic structures and Fibonacci sequence. The geographic text brings life to many disciplines within ancient Indian scholarship, a complete fusion of aesthetics or linguistics and mathematics. And this is why from Chandrahasra, Pingla is a significant historical figure in the development of mathematics, and his work serves as a base for ancient contemporary research studies, specifically in the field of mathematics. the categorization of Sanskrit verses has been studied by Pingala, and Vritta and Jati are the main categories. And Vritta being metered, which describes the number of composition of syllables, and Jati by the number of times of units. Vritta may have each quarter similarly called as Samavrita, and alternatively quarters similar as Ardha Samavrita. And all quarters which are similar is called as Visham Vrita. Uh,
Atrivji, please
yeah,
wind up.
yeah, sure. And these are certain certain things that was kind of invented by Pingala. So not to mention, there are the modern applications of this are already been incorporated in data compression algorithm, and even related to Fibonacci series as well. So not to mention, there are a lot of other ancient Bharatiya mathematicians who also contributed a lot to the mathematics, and those were the few of those were Aryabhatta and Brahmagupta and Bhaskara too. We have detailed out their contribution in our paper that we have submitted. So to conclude, Pingala's work is very important because it tells us about the capabilities and the nuances of our Bharatiya civilization towards the metric analysis of Sanskrit poetry. And Pingala's study of form of poetry was already in advanced because it brought a combinatorial methods and binary logics and recursive schemes. And mathematics employs many cultures and indeed numerous peripheral civilization, and the beauty of it is unquestionable. But the thing is, the acknowledgement for these work which was done by Bharatiya scholars was taken by the Western cultures. So even though the Pingala's number, which are laterly called as Fibonacci numbers, are now pretty well knownly called as Fibonacci numbers, should actually be named on the inventor of these numbers called Pingala. And we are kind of bringing these inventions of Pingala into the forefront in our paper, and then also trying to bring in the rich culture of innovation and mathematics that we had in our ancient civilization into light using this paper. So yeah, that's all about the presentation that I have. I'm happy to take if there are any questions on this topic.
Yeah, any questions? Any comments? Dr. Atrip, I think there is no questions per se, right? So anybody who has any comment directly, you can raise questions or comments. No, I think Kavya, you can go ahead with the next presenter. Thank you so much, Dr. Atrip.
Thank you, sir.
Next, I call upon Dr. Monmi Gohain. Dr. Monmi Gohain is from Assam, India, and the title for the paper is Revival of Traditional Justice Delivery System in Meghalaya, an abstraction of Khasi local codes, Dorbar Shnong. I invite Dr. Monmi Gohain now.
If you
Uh,
also introduce little more about yourself, where you are teaching or doing research, that would be an additional information. Like Atripji, I didn't know where you were teaching and all that, right?
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Okay, so I am Dr. Monmi Gohain, and I'm Assistant Professor of Law, National Law University and Judicial Academy, Assam. And like I have been teaching here for last 10 years. And shall I begin, sir?
Uh, we will remind you at 12 minutes, but not exceeding
Okay.
15. Okay.
Okay. So first of all, I would like to say that I feel privileged that I have got a chance to present a paper here. So the topic of my presentation is revival of traditional justice delivery system in Meghalaya, and abstraction of the Khasi local courts, Dorbar Shnong. So, first of all, I would like to give a brief introduction. So, we are talking about, like in this paper, we are talking about the state of Meghalaya, which is a landlocked state in the northeastern region of India, and it has a predominantly tribal population as listed in the constitutional, this constitution scheduled tribe order 1950. And there are quite a number of indigenous communities in the state, but majority among them are the Khasis, the Garos, and the Jaintias. And the state of Meghalaya also falls within the sixth schedule of the Constitution of India. And the background of this paper is to focus on the Dorbar Shnongs, and this Dorbar Shnong is basically a socio-cultural institution in Meghalaya, which is talking about the basic justice delivery system, and how it contributes. And the basic aim of this paper is to look into the challenges which this institution is facing, and then what are the techniques, the revival techniques that can be suggested to make it more prominent in the state. So, first of all, I'd like to focus on the on the conceptual analysis. Means what is the concept of the of the Dorbar Shnongs, and how the Dorbar Shnongs actually function. So this Dorbar Shnong can be said to be a traditional institution, and it has some kind of an administrative function also. And the Dorbar Shnong can be better said to be as an assembly of persons, mainly the adult males of a village elders, which is headed by an informal headman by the process of election among themselves. The nature of this institution is mainly ethnocentric and semi democratic in nature, and more importantly, this institution can be said to have an autonomous character and independent decision making. Now, it can also be said to have some characteristics of a self-governing institution, as stated in the sixth schedule of the Indian Constitution. Now, as we know that this Dorbar Shnong is a form of justice delivery system institution. So, what are the principles on the basis of which this Dorbar Shnong works? So, the Dorbar Shnong follows the principles of equity, justice, and good conscience, and it also upholds the law of the land. Since this institution is culturally blended, it has the acceptance and allegiance of the people. It also has an administrative duty, responsibility for the justice delivery system, and also takes care of the welfare of the people. Now, if you're talking about the social validity of this institution, so the administration and the justice delivery system, which is being taken up by this Dorbar Shnong, has the reflection of the traditional beliefs and democracy. And various writers have expressed their opinion that the administration and governance which this Dorbar Shnong gives is or can be said to be a part of the Khasi folk democracy. So now, how it is a part of the Khasi folk democracy, or how can we say that this Dorbar Shnongs are a part of the concept called folk democracy? So the concept of folk democracy reflects the idea that the governance and the election of the people in the governance system should be based on a phenomenon which gives the importance to the wishes and desires of the common people, and it is a kind of collective representation. Then it also says that if you're talking about a folk democracy, it has to be explained as a system in which the citizens make the coherent and intelligible policy decisions. So if we look at the setup and the type of work the Dorbar Shnongs are doing, so we can link this concept of Dorbar Shnong to the concept of folk democracy. Then some writers also say that if we look into the actual nature of the Dorbar Shnongs, so they are an extension of the clan-based representation in the administration of justice. It also supports the idea of folk democracy, and it tries to actually bring stability and perseverance to the human values and decisions. Now, if we're talking about the social legitimacy of the Dorbar Shnongs as a traditional justice delivery system, so this institution promotes the idea of dealing with modern governance, which tradition, and it can also be said to have the traditional form of governance as it emanates from the system of Khasi indigenous society, and this unique form of governance has the root for the collective decision making and jurisdiction according to the rules of traditional governance. Now, one of the important points in regards to the social legitimacy and the function of the Dorbar Shnong is that it doesn't negate the existence of other political institutions, but root for the phenomenon of coexistence with other institutions. For example, the Dorbar Shnongs make sure that the welfare schemes of the government reach out to the people at the grassroots level. They also work according to the law of the land. This becomes a beautiful amalgamation of modernity with the traditional roots of any region. And and through their various practices, these Dorbarshnongs have strived to preserve the various human values, which is inclusive of sustainability, protection of the environment, and recognition of the community assets. So why should we consider this Dorbarshnongs as a valid traditional customary institution? Because the people acknowledge and have respect for the traditions and customary practices, and then these are based on the age old acceptance of the people, and these practices are also being followed by the Dorbarshnongs, and they are being appraised by the people in the society, and they also promote community participation. And we can also say that the Dorbarshnongs are an admixture of clan and individualized basis of democracy. Then we have certain Indian constitution. We can relate certain provisions of the Indian constitution with the existence of this Dorbarshnongs. For example, Article 244. Then we can relate the sixth schedule. And the relation of the sixth schedule with the local institutions. We can also focus on the 73rd Amendment and the 74th Amendments, which which is actually a moot point, that whether the 73rd and the 74th constitutional amendments actually relate to this Dorbarshnongs. But a view is that if this 74th and 73rd constitutional amendments are there, so if it is rightly implemented, then I think this Dorbarshnong as a local institution should be more formalized and recognized. And we also have certain laws which are being passed in the state of Meghalaya, which gives some kind of legitimacy and validity to this Dorbarshnong. Say, for example, the Khasi Hills Autonomous District Village Administration Bill, and then we also have the Khasi Hills Autonomous District this appointment and succession of CM, Deputy CM electors and Rangbashnong of Milan Act 2007. So these particular acts are actually trying to give some kind of validity and preserve the existence of this Dorbarshnongs. And but of late, we have seen, we get to see that the importance and legitimacy of this institution is being questioned. So the basic aim of this paper is to look into the basic reasons behind the fading existence of this Dorbarshnongs and how to revive it. So there are various challenges which are being faced by this Dorbarshnongs, which puts some kind of faded existence to this Dorbarshnong. Say, for example, the representative of the governance followed by the Dorbarshnongs has historical this legitimacy is there, even though till date the institution is a bit conservative about their ways, which has somewhat hampered their efficiency. So some people believe that these institutions are based on the idea of exclusiveness, and so some kind of diminishing existence is being felt by the people, and people also believe that these institutions are a bit hazy about their fundamental functions as a social institution. So if we can bring some kind of clarity, or if the functions and the basic aim of this Dorbarshnongs can be made more clear, then we can actually realize the importance of the Dorbarshnong at a more clear level. And there are also various questions on the fact that even the people in the state are raising the questions on the fact that whether this Dorbarshnongs, if they whether they'll be able to cater to the needs of the present generation or not. And they also this Dorbarshnongs as an institution are also facing some kind of social insecurity in regards to the sustenance. But nevertheless, if there is some kind of amalgamation of the functioning of the Dorbarshnong with the modern societal developments, this institution can actually flourish as it has from its very prominence. So various various ways by which this Dorbar Shnongs can actually be revived, or the Dorbar Shnongs can be actually made prominent as a traditional justice delivery system in the state of Meghalaya. This has been suggested by the researcher with the help of various literature review which I have done. So various reforms can be suggested in the revival, such as inclusion of women, and this proper accountability mechanisms, and then legal this recognition, and digitalization. So in the point of inclusion of women, I would like to say that this inclusion of women in the basic functioning of the Dorbar Shnong is not so clear. So to this day, it is being seen that women are allowed to vote in some Dorbars within the state, but they are not included in the executive. So this statement I'm not making out of myself, but I have contacted with some of the people in Meghalaya, and they have said that some of the Dorbar Shnongs are allowing the voting of women, but in most of the Dorbar Shnongs, the women are not included in the executive, and mostly the male elderly members are part of the same. And in most of the Dorbar Shnongs, the women are even deprived of the voting power. So this statement also I'm making on the basis of my questioning with some people. The then there is a act, that is the Khasi Hills Autonomous District Village Administration Act, and it says that it is the duty of the Dorbar Shnong to look for the women and youth participation in the village administration. But if we see the basic working of the Dorbar Shnong, there has not been a trust for the inclusion of women in the Dorbar Shnongs as executives. So there is a general belief that the inclusion of women, if the Dorbar Shnongs are made, if the women are made a part of the executives in the Dorbar Shnong, so this can lead them to make responsible and sustained decision for themselves, and it can cater to various issues such as domestic matters, health of women, women empowerment, etc. So, here I would like to make a point that the advocates of the inclusion of women in the Dorbar Shnong do not want to negate this old age custom. That means if you're talking about the inclusion of women, we are not negating the age old custom which is being followed by the Dorbar Shnong, but just a question, a subtle question is being put that if a subtle change has to be brought to which allows the women to make decisions for themselves, then why it should not be welcome. Now another another reformative measure which can be suggested for the Dorbar Shnong is that digitalization. So there is a place which is called Laimukra in Shillong. So in Laimukra there is a Dorbar Shnong. So in Laimukra the digitalization of Dorbar Shnong has been done. So there is a particular website, and every information regarding the functioning and who are the members of the Dorbar Shnong, everything is is there in that particular website. And if people want to consult the Dorbar Shnongs, then they can directly go through this. So this so in the entire state of this Meghalaya, only the Dorbar Shnong of Laimukra has this particular provision. So if we have to make the Dorbar Shnongs more efficient, and if we have to make the functioning of the Dorbar Shnong more welcoming by the people, then I think the digitalization of the Dorbar Shnongs in the entire state is very important. So lastly, I would like to say that modernity do not negate the existence of anything. So if we are talking about the relation between the Dorbar Shnong and the modernity or the modern systems of governance, so if so it can be said that if we bring some kind of modernity to the Dorbar Shnongs and inculcate certain reforms, so it doesn't mean that it will negate the existence of anything. So it is all about the acceptance of a change which is more desirable, convenient, and contemporary. So the Dorbar Shnongs are a unique example of the indigenous culture of the Khasi people. If modern amenities are accommodated in the same, it helps in the revival of this institution, and there is no harm in accepting it. And since a long time, the Dorbar Shnongs have been involved in administrative and other welfare functions. So if we suggest these modern changes, if we suggest some kind of ways to revive it, so it may take some time to accommodate such changes, or these institutions may take some time to welcome these changes, but we should always be hopeful. And what is more important as, at this juncture is that that there should be awareness among the people that inclusion of women or other this digitalization or other reforms which can be brought in this institution is necessary so that they become more confident. The people who work in the Dorbar become more confident and contribute towards the development of the society. So the basic aim of this paper was to look into the basic function of this Dorbar and how the fading existence of this Dorbar can be revived. So this is how I conclude my paper.
Thank you, Dr. Monmi. Uh, so, any comments from anyone? It looks like we are more concerned about presenting, but not discussing. And online is always a problem. That yeah. How active is Dr. Monmi till now? The Dorbar Shnong, are they uh, still active, or with the change of this governance mechanism, modern institutions, uh, have they negotiated? I just want to be clear.
As per, yeah, sir. It's still active. I had consulted some people there, and we have faculty who is from Meghalaya. She also works here. So she was also saying that now also the Dorbar monks are active, but they are very reluctant to welcome the changes. So she was saying that if we have to suggest changes, or if we have to write some literature on these changes also, then we have to put it very subtle way, in a very subtle way. So we cannot be very very authoritative in suggesting changes. And she said that Dorvashnams will cater to the modern changes, but it will take some time. So that was her comment, sir. But if you are asking about the activity of the Dorvashnams, still now it is active, sir.
Because I learned that there were clash of interest between Dorbar Snow with
Yes,
autonomous district council, and then
yes,
legislative, assembly representatives. So that was
yes.
little
Yes, so one group of people are suggesting that the Dobrishnongs, since they're clan based, or mostly this family people or some kind of lineage is being taken off. So if this particular character is there, then it actually doesn't justify the very existence. So people are opposing that particular concept.
Mm, mm.
But regarding the justice delivery system or the nature of functions, there was no opposition, sir,
Okay.
as such, sir.
Yeah. Thank,
As to my knowledge, sir.
okay. Thank you, Dr.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Kavya
Thank
ji.
you so much.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Uh, Next, I call upon Dr. Nilendu Chatterjee. Dr. Nilendu Chatterjee is from West Bengal, India, and the title for the paper is Socio-economic Relevance of Pattachitra in West Bengal, an application of ancient Indian knowledge system.
Is he not there? What's the speaker's full name? I missed out.
So, Dr. Nilendu Chatterjee.
Dr. Nilendu, are you there? Is he not there?
I think he's not there.
हाँ तो आप दूसरे
I'll
बुलाइए.
just, yes. Next, I call upon Dr. Chaitra Ganesh. Dr. Chaitra Ganesh is from Karnataka, India, and the title for the paper is Exploring Epistemology in Medicine, a systematic literary study on Sankhya Gyan within Pratyaksha Praman and its relevance to Ayurvedic and contemporary diagnostic practices.
Dr. Chaitra,
Yes,
welcome. Speak little more about yourself. We would like to learn. Yeah.
Yes. Good morning, sir, respected chair and all my co-presenters. Myself, Dr. Chaitra. I have completed my BMS and MD degree from Sri Dharmasala Manjunatheshwara College of Ayurveda and Hospital in Udupi. And now presently I'm working as an assistant professor in Department of Samhita Siddhanta and Sanskrit in KLE Sri Kantimadi Ayurveda Mahavidyalaya, Belgavi. And I have prepared a small presentation.
Please go ahead.
Is the
Are you
screen visible?
showing, or are you showing a slide?
Yes, yes. Is it visible?
No, it's not visible. Kavya, are we also making Dr. Chaitra one of the, what do you call that, host?
We can present, sir, isme.
She can. Okay, she
Yeah.
can. Please try. I
Is
think
it?
it is starting. Yes, yes.
Oh.
You can maximize it a little bit. Yes. Okay.
So good morning again. The topic is exploring epistemology in medicine, a systematic literature study on Sannikarshya Jnana within Pratyaksha Pramana and its relevance to Ayurvedic and contemporary diagnostic practices. Basically, to give a background, I don't know how many of you are aware. There was a web series that had come on Kota Factory where the UPSC preparations was. There's a famous reel that has come where a student says that it's very chemistry is favorite only to females because they do not say it as pink, they say it as brick red. They do not say it as offensive smell. They say it as a smell of rotten egg, etc. So he says why so much of detailing is necessary and it is very difficult to remember. So this is a background that led to this. Similar things are even seen in medical diagnostic practices. And even in Ayurvedic classics, so that forms a background, and this to this I'm trying to link the Pratyaksha or the Sannikarshya Jnana that is there in the classics. Initially, to introduce Indian nervous system emphasizes various kinds of pramanas, as you all know. So Pratyaksha is fundamental in both Nyaya and Vaisheshika philosophies, and even Nastika Darshanas also accept Pratyaksha as one among the major pramanas for them. And the study explores significantly on the Sannikarshya Jnana and its relevance in Ayurveda and modern science. So basically, Ayurvedic classics, we have Charaka Samhita, Sushruta, Samhita, Ashtanga and Ashtanga Sangraha, and the later authors, which have taken significant contributions from the contemporary science to them, that is Nyaya, Vaisheshika, and even some aspects of Bauddha Darshana, and also from Vedanta Darshana and Nastika Darshanas that have also contributed significantly in various aspects of Ayurvedic classes. So basics of Nyaya and Tarka Sangraha is being focused in this presentation or in this paper, and their application as a pramana in Pratyaksha Jnana has been taken. So these are the methodologies that was employed. Objectives were to explore the role of Sannikarshya in Pratyaksha Pramana and to identify Sannikarshya applications within classical text and to demonstrate the relevance of Sannikarshya principles in contemporary medical diagnostics. So to give an overview, as you all know, Pratyaksha Pramana is direct sensory perceptions that is gained using the five sensory organs. And for the methodology that is involved here, he says there are six Sannikarshya Pramana, Sannikarshya varieties that is induced. So that is Sanyoga Sannikarshya, Sanyukta Samavaya Sannikarshya, Sanyukta Samaveta Samavaya Sannikarshya, Samavaya Sannikarshya, Samaveta Samavaya Sannikarshya, and Visheshana Vishesha Bhava Sannikarshya. The details is vastly mentioned in Tarka Sangraha. So he says Chakshushaha Gata Samyukta Janane Sanyoga Sannikarshya and Chakshu Sanyoga with Gata Pratyaksha Janane, Gata Rupa Pratyaksha Janane Sanyukta Samavaya Sannikarshya. And the Rupatva of the Gata is understood by Sanyukta Samavaya Sannikarshya. And Shabda is through Samavaya Sannikarshya, Shabdatva is by Samavaya Sannikarshya, and Abhava Pratyaksha is by Visheshana Vishesha Bhava Sannikarshya. So this is what is told in Tarka Sangraha, and he gives the classical examples of Gata is only given in the text. But how this can be applied in a scientific study of medicine is a principle of my presentation. So first we take individual sensory organs. So first we'll take the popular one, that is visual perception. So in context of visual perception, Ayurvedic classics mentions about Prameha as a disease. Prameha, broadly, I think most of you all know, it is regarding the diabetes. But the text classifies Prameha into 20 different kinds. So there are 20 different kinds of Prameha. The names are like Udakameha, Ikshvalikameha, Charameha, Kalameha, Neelameha, Manjishtameha, etc. So such 20 different names are mentioned. So when we go into deeper of this, why this 20 naming is where this 20 names are coming from? So it depends upon the color of the urine. So the color of the urine in Manjishtameha is similar to the drug that is Manjishta, which is a red colored drug that is usually used in most cosmetologic practices. And next coming to there is a meha called as Haridra meha, where the color of the urine turns to the color of the Haridra, that is the this thing, haldi, or the popular turmeric color. We have Udaka meha, where the color of the urine is similar to the color of the water. So ideally, urine is in starch color, so it is not the color of the water, but here in the Udaka meha, the color turns into the color of the water. Then we have Ishruvalika meha, where the color of the urine turns into the color of the sugarcane juice. So such nomenclatures are mentioned. So when we take, as an example, if you take Manjishta Meha, the first, when an urine is collected, identification of the urine that is collected is the first level of Sanyoga Sandhikasha. So if you are able to identify that there is a change in color, alteration of the color from the Prakrita color to the Vaikrita color, then that is the second level where it is the Sanyukta Samavaya Sandhikasha. And when it is considered it as red color urine, so if it is a red of that of Manjishta, or it is red of that of a blood that is mixed in the urine, or it is a red that is something because of beetroot that is consumed. So if this differentiation is able to be done by a physician, then the diagnosis will be much precise and it will be much more scientific in nature. That is the third level of Sannikasha, that is Samavaya Sannikasha. So this is with respect to the visual perceptions. Coming to the tactile perceptions, we have abdominal examinations that is popularly done. This is called as Udara is mentioned, where it mentions regarding 8 different kinds of Udara. So Udara is nothing but a disease where the water gets or the fluid gets accumulated within the abdominal cavity. The popular disease known as ascites is a major variety of Udara. So when an abdominal examination is done, the first level is always touching of the abdomen by the hand of a physician. So where there is a Sanyoga Sannikasha. Next, we are going to see whether there is a smoothness that is there or it has become hard, or if there is an raising or where there is a dip that is seen in the stomach or an abdominal cavity or any such body parts for that matter. So that is the second level of Sanyoga Samyukta Samavaya Sannikasha. And when it comes to the third stage, we try to identify which type of swelling or which type of alteration that is seen. So he majorly mentions there is a disease called as pleha, where the splenomegaly, the popular terminology in modern science is splenomegaly, where the spleen gets enlarged. So there he says the identification criteria, he says it is Kachapa Samsthanavat. He says that is the author says that the abdomen or the spleen becomes as hard as the back of a Kachapa. Kachapa is tortoise. So the structure and the hardness is specifically mentioned. And next, there is a disease called as Baddha Gododara, where there is an obstruction in the intestine. So when there is an obstruction to the intestine, the particles starts get accumulated prior to the obstruction, and there is significant rise or swelling that is seen. And he says that appears like Gopucha Samsthana. So he says there is a Gopucha Samsana like a tail of the cow, the swelling appears. So it also mentions regarding the characteristic of the swelling, and it also helps in identification of the disease. So a same patient or a person or a patient having a raise or swelling in the abdomen, whether it is as hard as Kachapa or whether it is as similar to that of Gopucha, will help in the diagnosis of that particular disease. Next, coming to the olfactory perceptions, we have Rina as a disease. Rina, in general, to translate it, is in ulcers. So when there are ulcers or any wound that is seen, usually there is the oozing that is seen or the pus comes out. So then what is the pus and what color the pus is and what is the smell that is accumulating from the pus. So that also helps in the identification of the wound, whether it is in healthy stage or whether it is in a disease stage. So in healthy stage of Brena, that is if a wound is healing, ideally the secretions from the wound will have no smell. It is Nirgandhavaktam. So that is the smell of the wound that is seen. But if the wound is getting infected frequently, the pus or the secretion that comes out has a very offensive smell. And it smells similar to that of Kunapa. Kunapa here is Shava or the dead body. It smells like a dead body that is seen. So this also helps in major diagnostic applications. Coming to auditory perceptions, every imagination of a physician is always with the stethoscope. So what the stethoscope helps us in understanding is any sounds for that matter, maybe from the intestines or maybe from the heart sounds. The first stage of all perception is always samavaya sanika. So that is, you keep the moment a stethoscope which is on and kept on any body part, the sound that is produced. So if you're able to hear the sound, that is samvaya sanikasha. The second stage is always which variety of sound it is, whether the sound is like a continuous moving chain, or whether it is a breaking, or whether it is like a wheeze, or whether it is like a sound that is coming through via a pipe. So such sounds are the ones that is used to identify the diagnosis. We are left with only one perception, that is gustatory perception, or that through the rasanindriya. But this is not very well used because Charaka very clearly mentions it is very is scientifically and it is practically difficult for a person or a physician to examine gustatory perceptions because the person will have to keep that particular body material on the tongue, and that is practically difficult and it is not good to do. So that is why he says gustatory perceptions are usually understood through Anumana Pramana. We are not using Pratyaksha in this matter, and this is very clearly mentioned even in the classics like Sarika Samhita and also in Sushruta Samhita. So this is regarding the five sensory perceptions that is used and how the Sannikasha helps in identification. Though the author does not mention that this is the first level of Sannikasha or this is the Sanyukta Samvaya Sannikasha or it is Samvaya Sannikasha, but the mentioning is very clear. So whether the first identification is always with the sensory organs of the physician and the sensory perceptions or the sensory objects of the patient. So if the physician is having some abnormalities in his organs, or if he is not able to contact directly with the objects of the perceptions, in both the conditions, the diagnosis is not proper or the diagnosis is difficult to be done. Once there is a contact between the Indriya and the Indriyartha, then the second level is always to identify whether it is in Prakritavastha or it is Vikritavastha. That is why in the initial two stages or initial two phases of medical teaching, people always concentrate on Prakritavastha. We have to know what is normalcy to understand the abnormality. So the next level is to identify whether it is Prakrita or next is
Ma'am,
Vikrita.
please wind up.
Yes, yes. Next, in the third stage, we identify whether in Vikritavastha at what stage it is. So this is not just present in even Ayurvedic classics, even the modern day diagnostics also runs on the same principle. Most of you, at least in once in lifetime, would have done urine analysis. If you have ever seen the report of urine analysis, it speaks about the particles in the urine and it majorly speaks about the color of the urine. So color of the urine is also analyzed in urine analysis, which is again the part of Sanika Shajnana. It's whenever there is a physical palpation that is done, palpatory examination in the modern science also works on the same principles, and the stethoscope also works on the same principle. So it is very important, one, to identify the neurological basis of sensory perception so that every symptom that is mentioned has a significant importance that is mentioned and that is there in clinical practices. It is very important to understand the in modern clinical practices also. So to conclude, Pratyaksha, Pramana, and Sanikashak are valuable in epistemological tools. Their integration into medical education can enhance observational skills. And it also helps in bridging ancient and modern diagnostic methods to enrich the medical practice. Once this importance is told, then only it will be easy for every student of medical practice to understand these things in detail. These are the reference. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chaitra.
Thanks.
That was quite technical as well.
Mm.
So, any questions from any corner? I was just curious to know, since I'm a student of philosophy,
Yes, sir.
uh, when you give quite a bit of emphasis on the pratyaksha pramana,
Mm.
uh, you did mention at one point role of anumana, but
Yes, sir.
because pratyaksha by itself doesn't make sense unless they are linked with the
Anumana.
rationality, right?
Yes, sir.
So, how do you engage into that? Do you give significant importance to Anumana as well?
Yes, sir. It has given significant importance. Everywhere he has mentioned minimum of two tools to use. So, Charaka Samhita itself mentions four pramanas. He mentions Aptopadesha, Pratyaksha, Anumana, and Yukti as a unique pramana that he mentions. But at some areas, he says there should be minimum of two pramanas for any diagnosis. One should be Pratyaksha, and the second one always is Anumana. So he gives there should be a significant backup by Anumana, but since it is a medical practice, he gives more importance to Pratyaksha.
Right, right. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for
Uh,
that.
any other, if there are any questions? It looks like, yeah, people do not have anything else to raise. So I will request, thank you very much, Dr. Chaitra.
Thank you, sir. Thank
And let Kavya continue with the, how many more speakers we have?
Yes, sir.
Kavya ji,
So last.
last speaker. ठीक है, बीच
So
में
last
आए
last
नहीं थे,
speaker.
बीच में नहीं आया था वही
Yes,
है.
sir. Yes, sir. So नहीं सर, एक और है.
एक बीच में नहीं आया था ना.
हाँ सर, वो नहीं आए थे, अभी नहीं जुड़े हैं वो.
अच्छा, ठीक ठीक. So
हाँ.
last speaker in that sense, है ना.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Now I call upon Miss Ragini Sharma. Miss Ragini Sharma is from Assam, India. The title for the paper is Reimagining the East, Indian Philosophy and the Countercultural Ethos of the Bee.
Dr. Ragini, you have to speak little more about yourself because our introduction of you is very, very brief. So,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Am I audible clearly?
yes, yes, we can
Uh,
hear you.
I am Ragini Sharma. I am from Assam, India, and I have completed my master's in 2023 from Pune University, and currently I am working as a faculty in Madhavdev University, Department of English, and it is from Assam, situated in Assam. So I have a presentation, PPT slide to present. Okay, I'm sharing it now. Can you see my screen?
Yes, yes, we can see. Yeah.
Okay. The topic of my presentation is Reimagining the East Indian Philosophy and the Countercultural Ethos of the Beats. My paper is about, it explores how beat writers, they engaged with Indian and Buddhist philosophies, which shapes their spiritual quest and cultural ideas. First, I'll briefly trace the influence of Indian thought in Western consciousness. Then I'll discuss how the Beats embraced Indian spirituality, followed by an analysis of Indian philosophy and spirituality in the fabric of Beat literature. So Swami Vivekananda once said that each nation, like each individual, has one theme in this life, which is its center. In India, religious life forms the center. Indian spirituality is rooted in Vedic and Upanishadic traditions, which focuses on seeking the supreme spirit beyond ordinary perception. The ancient rishis, they discovered that true existence lies in the Atman, or the eternal self, not in the temporary body or mind. Swami Vivekananda also spoke of the infinite unity of the soul as the foundation of moral life. So he believed that this Vedantic principle of oneness was essential for both India and the world. By stating that in and through all the literature voicing men's struggle towards freedom, you find the Indian Vedantic ideals coming out prominently. Now, how does this connect to the Beat generation? After the Second World War, many Americans felt lost in materialistic world. The Beat generation emerged as a group rejecting conformity and searching for deep meaning. Jack Kerouac, he described the Beat generation as a generation of crazy illuminated hipsters, curious, bumming, and hitchhiking everywhere. Indian philosophy became a major influence on the Beats. They turned to texts like the Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita. So the Gita's verse 2:47, which teaches us acting without attachment to results. It deeply resonated with them. Helped them to embrace personal freedom and creativity. The Beats saw Indian spirituality as an alternative to Western rationalism. Their writings questioned American identity and helped to spark a Western interest in Vedanta, yoga, and meditation. In many ways, they became some of the loudest Western seekers of Indian wisdom, who were searching for meaning in a restless world. Now, we'll be talking about tracing Indian thought in Western consciousness. Okay. So let's start with Aldous Huxley, who in his book, The Perennial Philosophy, he stated this connection by writing that Tattvam Asi, the Atman or immanent eternal self is one with Brahman, the absolute principle of all existence. This idea of fundamental unity, it fascinated Western thinkers who were searching for meaning beyond materialism. Perennial philosophy is the belief in a divine reality, a soul connected to it, and an ethical path to realization, which deeply influenced the 19th century American transcendentalists as well. Emerson explored unity and variety, and Thoreau, he carried the Bhagavad Gita at Walden Pond while writing the famous novel Walden. This legacy continued with the modern era as well. Walt Whitman, he saw India as a spiritual bridge for humanity. Rudyard Kipling, the famous Kipling, his scheme wove Hindu and Buddhist ideas into the protagonist's spiritual journey. And T.S. Eliot was influenced by Upanishads and Gita. He ended his famous poem, The Wasteland, with Shanti, 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 which is a call for inner peace. Writers like W.B. Yeats and D.H. Lawrence, they also explored Hindu teachings to examine themes of life, death, and rebirth. Now let's move into the Beat's journey into Indian spirituality. So the Beat generation was more than just a literary movement. It was a search for meaning. These writers rejected materialism. They challenged societal norms and explored spirituality in their own ways. One of the most influential Beat poet, Allen Ginsberg, he traveled to India in 1962 with Peter Orlovsky. In Delhi, he met fellow poets like Gary Snyder and Joan Kiger. But for Ginsberg, this trip wasn't just about travel, it was about transformation. He later admitted he had painted himself into an existential corner through drugs and needed something deeper. In Kolkata, he connected with modernist writer Buddhadev Bose and the hungry generation of poets who shared the Beat's radical spirit. India wasn't just a destination, it was, as Roger Housden said, that the motherland of the spiritual quest. During his stay, Ginsberg immersed himself in Indian traditions. He practiced mantra yoga with Swami Sivananda, who told him that your own heart is your guru. This reflected a core Indian belief. True wisdom comes from within. He embraced the Vedantic idea of interconnectedness by writing that the sky was the living blue hand itself. Existence itself was God. But his fascination with Indian spirituality wasn't just philosophical, it was deeply personal. In Indian Journals, it is one of his texts, he described meeting a leper sadhu, bowing to touch his feet in reverence. He also saw parallels between his psychedelic experiences and Hindu mysticism. So Ginsberg's time in India influenced his activism too. He was inspired by Gandhian non-violence, and he coined the term flower power as a call for peaceful resistance. He spent hours at Manikarnika Ghat in Varanasi, watching cremations and confronting the reality of death He later described the experiences in raw detail in his Indian journals, brains bubbling and burning, terms like that. Even after returning to the US, Ginsberg remained connected to Indian spirituality. Between 1963 and 1968, he focused on Hinduism. He was regularly chanting Hare Krishna and incorporating meditation into his daily life. For him, India had offered a way out of existential despair and reinforced his belief in art, spirituality, and social change. As he wrote, I am wandering in India. It is like another art. I am happy. Now, let's talk about another beat writer, Jack Kerouac. He was another restless seeker of Indian spirituality. Early on, he was devoted to Catholicism, but over time, he turned to Buddhism for answers. One of the key concepts that fascinated him was dharma, the idea of living according to spiritual principles. Huston Smith puts it well, Buddhism drew its lifeblood from Hinduism. Kerouac saw himself on a spiritual journey that crossed religious boundaries. In some of the Dharma he wrote, I am a Buddha, come back in the form of Shakespeare, for the sake of poor Jesus Christ and Nietzsche. And Thoreau was a major influence for Jack Kerouac. After reading Thoreau's Walden, Kerouac embraced simplicity and self-reflection. He studied Buddhist texts, especially the Buddhist Bible by Dwight Goddard, which introduced him to the Diamond Sutra and Heart Sutra. He became fascinated with Sunyata, the concept of Sunyata, the idea that all things are interconnected and the self is an illusion. Ginsberg later described Sunyata as a great elevated cosmic, non-cosmic consciousness. For Kerouac, it meant letting go of ego and embracing the flow of existence. In his novel The Dharma Bums, his protagonist Ray Smith embarks on a spiritual journey, meditating and learning from Buddhist monk. Kerouac's Zen practice was inconsistent, but his belief in impermanence and simplicity shaped his worldview. Beyond Buddhism, Kerouac also looked to Hinduism, particularly the Bhagavad Gita. He embraced the idea of karma, that actions have consequences, and he saw writings as his dharma, his spiritual duty. Like a modern day rishi, he used storytelling to seek truth. His endless movement in On the Road, his novel, echoed the wandering sadhus of India. But Kerouac wasn't the only beat writer who was drawn to Asian spirituality. Another one is Gary Snyder. He was often called the Zen poet of the beats. He had a deep and natural connection to Buddhism. Unlike Kerouac, who struggled with meditation, Snyder embraced it fully. Rick Fields, one of the scholars, he noted that he explored how Taoism, Buddhism, and Hinduism were related. His environmentalism also blended with his spirituality, as seen in his poetry book Turtle Island. Reflecting on his time in India, Gary Snyder said that we learned to love the street of India, maddening and illuminating. Then there is William Burroughs, who had a more complicated relationship with Indian philosophy. He admitted that he drew a blank on yoga and he wasn't as interested in spiritual discipline. Instead, he saw these philosophies as tools to break free from the Western thought. For Burroughs, spirituality wasn't about harmony, it was about disruption. So, despite these differences, all these writers saw Indian and Buddhist teachings as an antidote to Western alienation. For Snyder, Indian culture represented unity with nature. For Ginsberg, it offered spiritual discipline. For Kerouac, it was a way to express his longings for transcendence. And even William Burroughs, in his own way, recognized its power to expand human consciousness. The beat writers didn't just admire Eastern spirituality, they were actively engaged with it, which reshaped Western literature and culture in the process. Now, let's move into how the Indian philosophy um, comes in the spirituality of spiritual fabric of beat literature. Uh, let's start with Allen Ginsberg. So he is known for his poem Howl, which was published in 1956. Howl is a poem filled with a raw spiritual intensity. Even before he turned to Indian philosophy, he saw the sacred in everyday life. In Howl, he declares, everything is holy, everybody is holy, every man is an angel. This idea echoes the concept of Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma of Indian philosophy, that all existence is divine. Ginsberg also reflects something like Arjuna's despair in the Bhagavad Gita when he opens Howl with, I saw the best minds of my generation destroyed by madness. Like Krishna guiding Arjuna, Ginsberg offers solidarity to those struggling. He says that I am with you, Rockland. Later, he explicitly embraced Indian mysticism. His travels to India in the 1960s deepened this connection. In Indian journals, which was published in 1970, he describes experiencing the sound of a train as the sacred vibration of Om. I'm quoting, roaring Om Om on the tracks, the faint, other universe howl inhalation. And in Angkor Wat, another poem, 1963, he chants that Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Through mantra and poetry, Ginsberg blended the East with his own countercultural rebellion. Now, let's move to Jack Kerouac. His novel, The Dharma Bums, which was published in 1958, it is a deeply personal exploration of Buddhism. His narrator, Ray Smith, he says that I was an old-time bhikkhu in modern clothes. But there is a tension. He wants enlightenment, yet he is drawn to the wild, chaotic life of the beats. His friend Jeffrey Ryder introduced him to Tibetan Buddhist practices like Yabyu, a spiritual union of wisdom and compassion. The novel's most powerful moment comes when they climb a mountain and Ray realizes the mountains were indeed Buddhas and our friends. This reflects the Buddhist idea that enlightenment isn't somewhere far away, it is right here in nature, in the present moment. But Kerouac struggles, his life is full of contradictories uh, because he was seeking spiritual peace while indulging in excess, and that's what makes the Dharma Bums so real. Then there is Gary Snyder, who took Indian and Buddhist ideas and wove them into environmental activism. In Gary Snyder's In Myths and Text, which was published in 1960, he uses the Hindu concept of kalpas, which is the vast cosmic cycles of creation and destruction. He writes that men who hire men to cut groups, kill snakes, build cities, pay fields. This mirrors, I think, Shiva's apocalyptic fire, destruction caused by human greed. But in Hindu thought, destruction is followed by renewal. Snyder saw nature as sacred, much like Indian traditions do. His another poem, Smoky the Bear Sutra, it humorously transforms Smoky the Bear into a Buddhist bodhisattva, saying that he will put out fires in the mind of man. For Snyder, protecting nature was a spiritual duty. So, what's the legacy of Eastern thought in the Beat movement? That Ginsberg found divinity in everyday life and later immersed himself in Indian mysticism. Kerouac struggled between Buddhism and Bohemian lifestyle, but capturing the journey as a restless seeker. And Gary Snyder fused Hindu and Buddhist ideas with environmentalism, seeing nature as a sacred. Now, to conclude, the beat writer's engagement with Indian thought was complex, deeply personal, and filled with contradictions. On one hand, they genuinely respected Indian spirituality and sought answers to their existential struggles through Indian and Buddhist philosophies. On the other hand, their interpretation was shaped by their own cultural perspectives, which simplifies and the altering Indian tradition to fit their counterculture ideas. This brings up an important question: where the Beats truly embracing Indian philosophy? So this is a matter of argument, matter of further argument. But of course, their work opened doors for cross-cultural exploration, but it also raises ethical concern. um, so ultimately, they remind us of both the power and risk of cultural exchange, and but obviously their works continue to inspire conversions about spirituality, identity, and the boundaries of cultural interpretation. So yeah, that is all about my presentation. I am stopping the screen share. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ragini. Just before I open it to the others, something that little jarring. Okay, okay. So there is a question who is from Tanmoy Bhattacharjee. Can you read it? It is in the chat box.
So the
Yes.
question is,
Just
I'll
open the
just read
chat
out.
box.
Yeah. Dear Ragini ma'am, would you please illuminate the part where you refer to Gary Sanders' ideas? Which particular ideas are you referring to?
Yes, actually, Gary Snyder is a beat poet who is known for his environmentalism ideas. He has written a very beautiful poetry collection, Turtle Island, where he has talked about the preservation of nature and all of these things. And uh, I found similarity of similarity of Turtle Island with Indian spiritual ideas. That is it.
Okay, okay. Thank you, madam. Thank you for the valuable inputs. Thank you so much. Am I
Uh,
audible?
yes,
Yes,
yes.
yes.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
okay. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Dr. Ragini, I have a difficulty with one of your slides. The last slide you showed,
Yes.
in which you have written Indian and Buddhist philosophies. What do you mean by that? That is conceptually, there is a big flaw in that. I mean, I can understand if you say Vedantic and Buddhist philosophies, or even you
Uh,
say Hindu and a Buddhist, it is all right. But Buddhist philosophies is part of Indian philosophy as well. Indian philosophy does not exclude Buddhism or Jainism. Uh,
yes.
why was that done? What was the
Uh,
rationale behind that?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Actually, you are right. I have mentioned it in my presentation that Hinduism drew its lifeblood from Buddhism. Sorry, Buddhism drew its lifeblood from Hinduism. That is what one of the scholars say. But in my PPT, actually, it was a mistake from my side. I should have written Vedantic and Buddhist ideas. Because of the time limit, I think I have done the mistake. Yeah, I'll correct it.
Just correct
But
that. Huh?
yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sure.
That's fine. Anything else? Anybody else would like to comment or question?
So I just have a
Uh,
suggestion or question.
yeah.
Um, like we, of course, this whole conference was about reimagining and reclaiming our own things of Indian knowledge system and everything. But why do we? I mean, we come across headings or titles like reimagining the East, reimagining Indian ethos. Why isn't why do West don't have this need of reimagining things? I mean, of course, I know the coloniality behind all these things, but I've never come across West having these topics.
Maybe. Go ahead. Go ahead. Ragini.
Uh, uh, okay. Can you repeat the question? I didn't realize that it was for me.
No, actually, it's not specifically for you, but your title says reimagining the East. So my simple question was, why don't we come across West having these titles? Of course, I know the coloniality behind all these titles, but is it just because of the colonization process that we have to keep our titles like reimagining and reclaiming? So, do West don't
Uh,
have these
yeah,
these
yeah.
needs to have these titles of reimagining, reclaiming their identities.
Yes, yes, you are right. But I think I have I'm talking about my own personal opinion that I think I have uh, like uh, in al to align with the conference title, I think I have taken this title, and I think you are right. But the thing is that Indian knowledge system is a growing area of research or growing area of discussion, which is going on currently. So I think it will gradually change. I think the like it was not discussed before. The discussions on Indian knowledge system was not there before some years before. But I think like it is changing. The colonialism which is still present in our minds, it will change gradually. It's my opinion about this. And about my paper, I think I have tried to align it with the title of the conference, Reimagining the Indian Knowledge System. That is my opinion, and I don't know if others have anything to say on it.
So thank you.
Uh, Hello.
Yes, yes, please go ahead.
Sir, if you permit, respected chair, sir, if it is said that the West has not been reimagining and reclaiming, then, sir, we are not. We are not doing justice to our own thoughts. Also, I mean, every culture. I mean, this is the call of the day that every culture has been reimagining definitely, because even in West, if we see, what we see is that they are actually taking up the texts and their art and their culture and the recent theory of eco-criticism. So if we consult it, actually we see that the paradigm, with the changing paradigm, well, they have always been reimagining their past and reclaiming it, of course. So in the new light, in the new discourse, it is time that we look back. Even we're looking, many years back, and then bringing the texts to see them in new lights, and that is what should we should do actually. And it has been happening everywhere, not just in India. That is my humble take uh, to my esteemed co-presenter.
Ragini ji, you want to add, respond? Because the whole point that Tanmoy ji is saying is, though he didn't mention it, but the whole process of decolonization that has come from the developing world is also about reimagining themselves. So he is saying it is not only the West, but others are also reimagining their own cultures, their own traditions,
Yes,
worldview.
yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, it is correct. Because reimagining is not something where it is just like the act of remembering again, act of embracing our culture again. So I think there is nothing wrong in it. Everyone is doing it, and obviously we all should do it. That's what I think Dr. Tanmay sir is saying.
Jonathan Bates, sir, is into the word, and he is once again bringing Wordsworth's texts, the 19th century texts, early 19th century texts, and late 18th century Wordsworth's texts, and then in 2002, and the work has begun, sir, to re-look at Wordsworth's poetry, Wordsworth's works in new lights, in new critical lights, and then may I ask why this is happening? This is definitely a process of reimagining, and why is it happening? Because that is what the culture demands. That is what it demands. That I mean, by history, what we mean that to make ourselves contemporary. If I remember what Mosheta Devi said in an interview, Devi was asked what is history, and she said to make yourself contemporary is history. So that is what is happening everywhere, sir. So, and you are right, sir, when you say that this is a part of decolonizing the process and all that. But then, sir, this is also happening in the West also. That is what I feel. I humbly feel, of course.
Yes, and I think I'll also want to take the name of Chitra Banerjee Devakaruni, who is writing the Mahabharata and Ramayana from Draupadi and Sita's perspective. This is another example where we are reimagining things from another perspective. I think that is the same as uh, reimagining the
Yes,
culture or reimagining
yes,
the spiritual traditions.
yes.
Okay.
Sir would be the best person to
No, no, no.
to.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's all right. We have good exchanges of ideas. Only thing is today the presentations were quite varied and vast. So I do not think I will be in a position to really uh, bind a thread to make it common, except that there is certain sense of indigenous or local aspiration to capture one's past, what you call Bharat, and also try to recover what was lost in the whole process of colonization. That seems to be there in most of the presentations. I think, did not have one presenter, so we are going to end little early, maybe 11 minutes before. But had the sixth presenter also come, we would have struggled for time slot. So I would like to thank each one of you, all the five presenters. Kavya, is the sixth presenter present by any chance?
No, sir. So we
हाँ,
tried contacting, but was not
okay,
able
great.
to.
चलो ठीक है. So from my side, my sincere thanks, and I congratulate each one of you, all the five presenters, and also the others who are very quietly present. I hope you are listening also, because this is always a doubtful feeling one has when you are in online mode, whether the other is already there or it is only a virtual, illusion that somebody by the name of X, Y, Z are there, but you never see them, you never hear them. So anyway, thank you very much. Kavya, over to you. You can now conclude. Yeah.
Awesome. So we've reached our end of the session. I heartfully thank the chair, Professor Bhagat sir, for his enriching guidance throughout the session. And I also thank all the speakers for enlightening us on different aspects of Indian knowledge system and tradition. Lastly, the part certificates for participation will be sent through your emails. People who have joined us online will be getting e-certificates. I request everyone to please open their cameras for a while so that we can take a group picture.
Okay, it's nice to see people are present. Yeah. Ankit ji, Athar, it will be good if you also. Kavya, others I have gone to sleep, I think. So you
Well,
have
no
to.
problem. We'll just take a picture of whoever is present right now. Okay. Thank you
Thank you.
so much. Thank you, everyone, for participating in the conference. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.